Okay guys, welcome back. Cal Clash Fitness in the shed. No sheep in the shed. As you know, everyone watching this video has their own opinions. They know what they're talking about. They don't need to listen and follow the crowd and all that bullshit. No sheep in the shed. Okay? And today we're going to be here to talk about half marathon pacing. How to pace and come up with a pacing strategy, okay, for a half marathon. Alright? So many people just come into half marathon, sign up, do a little bit of training, and they just turn up on the day and start running, okay? No good. You need a pacing strategy, all right? Simple as that. So today we're going to quickly talk about how to put a pacing strategy together, all right? Now the first thing to do is have a look at the course profile, okay? So this morning, a couple of hours ago, me and my friend, my Viking warrior, my brother, we ran half marathon, all right? It's the third year running that we've run this half marathon together, okay? The first year is a very, very, very challenging, very hilly half marathon course, okay? So the first year, before I'd run it, what did I do? I studied the course, I learned where the hills are, okay? So I know there's a hill at 3 miles, a really big one. I know there's a really big hill at 6 miles. I know there's a really big hill, 11.5 miles, okay? On the first time I ran it, I had a piece of paper. And the piece of paper reminded me where the hills were, where the long downhill sections were, where the flats were, and where it was slightly undulating, okay? So I knew, with my Garmin 310 XT and my piece of paper, exactly what was coming up and when. And if I was smarter, I could have actually programmed it into my watch and it could have told me what speeds I should be running at the time, okay? So number one, learn the course. Very important. There were so many people, I remember on that first time, that could see I had a little piece of paper, kept taking it out, and they were all bunched around me asking me, because they were so exhausted after these surprise hills, okay? Because if you're running at your average half marathon pace, you're going to be at that sort of lactic threshold, okay? And then you turn a corner and there's a freaking, the road just lifts up in front of you. That is an awful sight to see, okay? So everyone was coming to me asking me because they were so knackered, okay? I could have a look at my piece of paper. After mile 5 I knew to taper it down a little bit, turn the corner, saw the hill. I had air in my lungs in order to negotiate my way up the hill. Okay, so when coming up with a pacing strategy, it's really important to know your course, because if it's a hilly course, you're not going to be maintaining a steady speed all the way around. You need to know what pace you should be running at. Okay. Now, secondly, you need to know what type of runner you are, what type of mentality you're going to the run with. Okay, so there's 3 different ways of running. You can either be the guy that just sprints off, runs the fast first 6 miles, and then just tries to maintain that speed, that advantage that you built from the first 6 miles. You can try and run it the other way, so you run a little bit slower, keep the air in your lungs for the first 6.5, and then for the second half you try and run negative split. Or you can try and run like the Terminator and just run the same pace all the way through, okay? So for me, I'm a little bit guilty of just sprinting off at the start as fast as I can, but my mentality is that after 6-7 miles, I'm feeling shit, but I'm looking at my watch. And there's no better incentive to see that you're on for a PB, whether it's achievable or not. Mentally, you just fucking go for it, okay? So I felt shit today, but I knew I was on for a good time on this course. I got 125, I got in the early 125s. I was ahead of my mate, who I massively respect. He actually beat me in the end by 17 seconds, but it's an honour for me to lose against such a great runner like that. He came 31st, I came 32nd. It was a challenging course, 125, very respectable time, so we were both happy with that. And I went off like a rocket, I always do, and I knew where the hills were, so I pulled back a little bit just for the hills, maintained a respectable speed, but didn't want to overheat on the hills, and then on the downhills and the flats just went for it, okay? Managed to maintain my pace all the way through. Sprint finish wasn't as strong as I'd have liked, but I can learn that for next year. But for me, my pacing strategy, because I know I've got the mental toughness, I will just go for it and just continue to push through the pain barrier, because sooner or later the endorphins are going to come in. You can pop a gel with a bit of caffeine in it. You do anything to get yourself to the finishing line, okay? And finally, with your pacing strategy, you just need to have a clear vision, a clear visualization of what's going to happen in the race, okay? Obviously nothing always goes to plan, but you don't want to visualise the finish, you want to visualise where you know it's going to get hard. You want to visualise mile 10, mile 12, mile 7 or whatever. You want to visualise the hard miles, okay? Not the finish, visualise the hard miles, be prepared for them and enjoy them, okay? That's my half marathon pacing strategy tips. I did it this morning, I'm all pumped up. I should look like shit, I feel like shit, but I feel fantastic as well at the same time. Okay guys, if you liked the video, please leave me a like. As always, comment, subscribe. I love to hear from you guys all the time. Let's keep it rolling.